realize or remember that there's not much like Jeet Kune out there. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 221. This is the one about Jeet Kune's unique sell-in proposition. So as you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. The JKD Notables coffee mug, also available in t-shirt form, hoodie, and sweatshirt, all that good stuff. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. I'm looking around because I'm trying to make sure that the link is up. And okay, so Russell's here. Russell. Terry Valor. Who? Terry, I think Russell beat you. And Pedro Rodriguez is here also from Palm Beach. All right, nice, good crew. Right, okay, so I have mentioned this before. It's one of the Jeet Kune discussions that that I think we've never really gotten to the bottom of, and that is the one about, let's call it the rightful place that Jeet Kune should occupy on the martial arts world stage. Here's why I say that, because to us, because we're so deeply involved in Jeet Kune, we figure that it's perhaps better known than it really is. And I say that because I find it incredible that way more people know the name Bruce Lee. In fact, Glenn and I, Glenn's my senior student here in Miami, we tested it just last week. We were out socially and we tested it. Way more people know the name Bruce Lee, but do not know that he was a real martial artist, and even that he was the founder of his own martial arts method. So to me, that is evidence that somewhere back in the past, something went really, really wrong. And I think that that something has contributed to what could be considered today the eventual watering down of Jeet Kune's status in the overall martial arts world. So in case you're unfamiliar with the wording in today's broadcast title, Unique Selling Proposition, I'll just give you a quick history on USPs. If you're old enough, you might remember when in a Domino's pizza ad, it said, fresh, hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less guaranteed. That is a unique selling proposition. It's not just a slogan. Sometimes people confuse the two. I actually made my notes for today's broadcast on that Domino's USP. I made that from memory. And I'm not somebody who has even ever had a slice of Domino's pizza, right? But I can remember it because it was that impactful a USP. So I'm going to tie all of that into Jeet Kune. But we got to go back first to the creation of Jeet Kune. So let's call it generally or widely accepted version is that after the fight with Wong Jack Man, Bruce Lee did his own kind of like post-fight review and determined that he was too winded and that his lack of long-range skills didn't help. And so that's what leads eventually to cut to later, and he's announcing to people that he's going to have his own system drawn up, and it will be drawn primarily from Wing Chun, boxing, and fencing. Now, even if you stop there, you could still promote Jeet Kune as something unique in the martial arts world, because up to that time, even though there were people who had combined arts into a new system as such, no one had done so using these three specific sources the way Bruce Lee did. So that was a unique flavor, a unique aspect to the creation of Jeet Kune. So based on that, you could promote Jeet Kune as something that resulted from Bruce Lee's constant search for let's call it any and everything which would help him to improve his martial arts skills, which is something spectacular because it is a perfect example of what a lot of people use to encourage the membership at their martial arts schools. It's the CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. So we have Bruce Lee as an example of constant and never-ending improvement. Now, I don't know what Bruce Lee studied in order to start putting his stuff together. And I don't mean his martial arts stuff. What I mean is the things that accompanied his martial arts stuff. So for example, we know that Bruce Lee lectured at Garfield High School in Seattle, right? Went on Chinese philosophy. Bruce Lee wrote a book. Bruce Lee did a ton of demonstrations. So I've always wondered who told him that the trappings of authority involve being an author, being a speaker, being a presenter, right? A stage presenter. Those things go to make you, and he did TV stuff too up there in Seattle. So somehow Bruce Lee knew that when it comes to promotion, marketing, let's call it, that there were certain things that you have to do, and he did all of them. Now, I know that very few people think of Bruce Lee when it comes to the business of martial arts. But again, I've said this before, whether or not it was intentional, Bruce Lee made use of many marketing tools, right? What I want to talk about particularly today is a thing that I from Brendan Burchard that he calls frameworks, right? And frameworks it's the way of breaking down your information into digestible chunks, right? So did you notice how many arts Bruce Lee decided to pull from to formulate Jeet Kune? Have you ever seen how many sessions make up the Bruce Lee private lesson plan? How many methods of attack in his system? How many stages of cultivation in a technique, right? So in all of the above, there are specific numbers for these things: 3 arts, 10 sessions, 5 methods, 3 stages, and on and on. So Bruce, and again, I go back, I don't know if it was intentional or not, because I don't know what it is that he studied, but we know he had a huge library. So unfortunately, even though Bruce Lee may have written down all that stuff that I just talked about, it was never passed on, to the best of my knowledge, it was never passed on to his students, probably because Bruce Lee was not involved in building a martial arts business enterprise. So but here's the thing, even though Bruce Lee wasn't cultivating instructors, like I said last week, when depended upon, he could give really good advice, even business advice, but he could give really good advice on how to teach a class, right? As we can see from, so in the Jeet Kune commentaries, there's the organized lesson plan, and then there's the private lesson, the private lesson plan as well, right? So when it comes to organizing and using numeric indicators in your organization, right? Frameworks, Bruce Lee is up front and center. Another quick aspect on framework is proprietary language. So before Bruce Lee, again, going back to some of the stuff I just mentioned, I don't think anybody was breaking things down in numbers, but also giving names to them. So for example, the 5 ways of attack, the 3 stages of a technique, that type of stuff. I am not aware of that. So that type of stuff is proprietary to Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do. So I could go on and on, but hopefully you can already see that there's a lot of material that is unique to Jeet Kune Do. So my question then is, how did Jeet Kune end up being treated as just another martial art instead of the unique self-development, unique self-development vehicle that it is? How come in some martial arts schools it's not even listed, even though it's supposed to be a Jeet Kune school? Or how come sometimes Jeet Kune is shown as one of the arts taught at a particular martial arts school instead of being the art, right? I say this, I think a lot of that happened because Jeet Kune is not actually taught as having a unique place in the history of martial art. And you know where some of that might have come from? The whole don't fuss over it mentality, which, like I've said before, I think a lot of people misinterpret the meaning behind that statement, right? So if you are someone who does see JKD as special, then I invite you to do what you can in promoting it as such, promoting it as something special. And you can achieve that by doing a lot of what Bruce Lee did. But my particular thing is the proprietary language stuff, right? You can come up with your own language for what you teach and how you teach it. And I don't mean by renaming it. I don't mean by renaming Jeet Kune Do to something else. That's not what I'm talking about. But definitely crafting language to clearly illustrate what you teach or train. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today, and to try to make sure that that you guys actually do listen to the broadcast. So I'm going to put this up, and I'm going to try to put myself out of the once you are done answering all those questions, let me try to get that out of there. Okay, so once you're done, send me the email or answer here in the comment section if you can. It's probably easier to just do it as an email, I think. Right? I don't know. But I invite you to discuss this kind of thing with me. I'm doing in 2 weeks. I'm doing a Zoom seminar. So it'll be Wednesday, the April 13th, I think it is, and we'll do it right after the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. So probably like at 6:30 or something like that. So if you want to be part of that webinar, email me, jkdrebel@gmail.com, and put JKDSS webinar in the subject line, because this is the type of thing that I will be doing when the Jeet Kune Do Success Strategies program is fully launched, right? So email me, jkdrebel@gmail, JKDSS webinar in the subject line. And if you did make a copy of those 6 questions, send me your answers to that too. All right. So I think that's it. That's all I got for you today. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like what you heard, comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, Dwight Woods, on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. JKD Journey Volume 1 is available at paypal.me/unified MA Miami. PayPal.me/unified MA Miami. $9.95 for the raw but edited version of the Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1. Coming up on Saturday, so we won't have Jeet Kune Do dialogues on Friday. I'll get a night off. The dudette will be happy. Saturday, April 2nd, still at 6 p.m., but with Ryan Teal of MKG International. So Saturday at 6. Today's a black and white or gray day. There you go. All right. So I'll see some of you maybe on Saturday at 6 p.m. with Ryan Teal. If not, I'll see you next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You guys take care. I'll talk to you soon.